Good morning, grade 9. How are you today? Again, this is Teacher Mitch, your English teacher. So, have you listened to Katy Perry's song, Fireworks? Did you enjoy the song? And have you observed some of its lyrics? I hope you did because it has something to do with our lesson this morning. Alright, so here are some of the lyrics taken from the song Fireworks of Katy Perry. Okay, so let's read, or if you want to sing, you can sing. Alright, so first is, do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind? Alright, so next we have, do you ever feel so paper thin like a house of cards? And we have, oh, I don't know how to sing this. So your original cannot be replaced, right? Next, like a lightning bolt, your heart will blow. And as you shoot across the sky. And last, after a hurricane comes a rainbow. So if you have noticed, there are some kind of figurative language used in the song of Katy Perry. And this morning, we're going to talk about figurative language. Alright? Are you ready? Let's get started. So, those sentences in the first slides are examples of figure of speech. And today, we're going to study figure of speech. So, type are some of the most used figure of speech. So, what is figure of speech? It is a word or phrase using figurative language that has other meaning than its normal definition. So, in other words, figure of speeches rely on implied or suggested meaning rather than dictionary definition. So we have the simile, that is the comparison of two things. Like for example, in the first slide we have, do you ever feel like a plastic bag? So that is, you are comparing a feelings to a plastic bag. So that is simile. So it is the use of like and as, a comparison of two things. How about metaphor? So it is a direct comparison. So unlike simile, metaphor does not use like or as. Next we have personification. So it is giving the quality of human to non-human things or inanimate objects. And of course, the hyperbole, the exaggeration. Alliteration. Okay, so that is the repetition of consonant sounds or letters. And onomatopoeia, it is the sounds, right? So we're going to find out what are they and how they are used in poetry. Are you ready? Now let's start. So again, figure of speech. It can be a special repetition, arrangement, or omission of words with literal meaning or a phrase with specialized meaning not based on the literal meaning of the words. Okay? So a figure of speech, I've already read that. So let's start with simile. I know most of you are very familiar with simile. So simile, it is simply a comparison of two things using the word as and like. So it is a literary device where the writer employs the words like or as to compare ideas. So you will recognize examples of simile in points because they will include comparison using the words like or as. So let's have some example. At exam time, the high school student was busy as a bee. So the word as busy as a bee is an indication that it is a simile. You are comparing the high school student into a bee or into a busy bee. Alright? Next, number 2, when the examination is finished, the candidate felt as light as a feather. So you are comparing the candidate or the feelings of the candidate into a feather that is very light. Next, in winter, when it rained, he climbed into the bed as snug as a bug in a rug. So that is as snug as a bug. Do you understand? Okay, so very easy. Next. Now I have here a poem, so let's identify the simile used in the poem. So here, a red, red rose by Robert Burns. So let's read. Oh, my love's like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love's like the melody that sweetly played in June. So Robert Burns uses simile to describe the beauty of his beloved. So he says that his love is a fresh red rose that blossoms in the spring. Okay. So now we have the metaphor. So metaphor, it is a direct comparison without the use of or without using the word like or as. Okay, so it is similar to simile. However, this literary device makes a comparison without the use of like or as. Okay, so let's have some examples. So the skies of his future began to darken. So darkness here is a threat. Therefore, this implies that the coming times are going to be hard for him. Okay, so and number two, her voice is a music to his ears. So he is comparing her voice to a music. It implies that her voice makes him feel happy. Okay, and for number three, we have time is a thief. So we are comparing time to a thief. All right, so that is metaphor. So we have here a poem that contains metaphor. So it is A Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson. So let's read. Hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without two words and never stops at all. So in this poem, Emily Dickinson uses a metaphor to compare a hope to a bird. She personifies hope as having a feathers and perching in the soul, singing without end. So that is an example of metaphor. All right. So let's have a personification. So it is also a literary device where an abstract concept, such as particular human behavior or a force or form of a nature, is represented as a person. So personification is a way to add description to your poem by giving human characteristics to inanimate object. Like for example, the trees screamed. Can trees actually scream? No, that is a human trait. So the use of personification here gives a better description of the sound or the sound of trees that makes in during strong winds. Okay, so let's have another example. The wind is whispering outside. Can wind whisper? Of course, no. It is also a human behavior or human traits. Next, our coffee maker wishes us good morning. Does your coffee maker wish you good morning? Of course, no. Okay. The sun kissed my cheeks when I went outside. So kissed is a human trait. Okay. All right. So here is an example of poem which contains a personification. So two sunflowers move in the yellow room by William Blake. So let's read. Ah, William, we're wary of the weather, said the sunflowers, shining with dew. Our traveling habits have tired us. Can you give us a room with a view? All right. So the sunflowers in this poem are talking to William Blake, telling him that they want to be moved because they are tired of being outside in the weather. So that is personification. So it is like sunflower is a human. So it is talking to William Blake. All right. Now we have hyperbole. So it is an exaggeration used for artistic effect. Okay, so it is a device that we employ in our day-to-day speech, so exaggerations. For instance, when you meet a friend after a long time, you say, "It's been ages since I met you," or "since I saw you." So you may not have met him for just 3 hours or 4 hours or a day, but the use of the word ages exaggerates the statement to add the emphasis. Wait.